Hello, hello. Looks like we are live and so happy to connect with everybody. Looks like I am live on Instagram as well. And also inside of my Facebook page, which I'm going to share in my Facebook group. All right. And so, of course, every topic I discuss, they're all super significant to me. So this one is really important. And I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of a background. And I promise I won't bore you. I'll keep this exciting, okay? So being nice has a history. The history, I won't go too much into it here. I'm going to talk about how it really affects your connection with your twin flame and also other people in your life. If you're running a business, it's doing the same thing there too. Okay. With your friends, you name it, being nice is creating a distant, especially with your mirror. Okay. So, where do I go? All right, you guys are gonna have to hold on one moment. I have to kick my son out of here. Go. Because we're going into a little bit of a history here, okay? Oh, go. Thank you. All right, so where this niceness started. I remember some of you had commented about being kind and not nice. And I spoke to someone about this, and they were like, well, when you're nice, things come back to you. You want to be nice. You want to meet people who are nice. You want these nice folks in your life, right? A lot of us are burned out by people who are just really mean and who are selfish and who don't really care about our needs. But this is exactly what happens when we're being nice. Now, I want to clarify what this being nice is. So, when I was with my ex husband, people would ask him, I don't get it. Why do you treat 𝐿 the way that you treat her? She's so nice to you. Like she does all the right things and all this kind of stuff. But deep down, I knew that I wasn't that nice. I knew it. I was hiding behind this idea that I was really nice, okay? And perhaps you've been doing that, especially if you relate with people pleasing. This is number one. This is a key right here. And so I would do all the nice things. Whenever I was feeling upset about something, I wouldn't talk about it because talking about it meant that we were going to have an argument, things were going to get explosive, no one really cared. Or when I spoke about it, it felt like I was talking to a brick wall and no one was hearing me. So what happened is I started to shut down. I started to do things to keep the peace. And I was doing all the stuff that everybody told me to do in a marriage. You got to cook, clean, be this really good wife, and make sure the food is served. Meanwhile, I was hurting inside. I was plotting on my next move, like I want to leave here. I would get really angry when things got when things became too much. Okay. Hi, DM. I see you changed the name to DM. Thanks for hopping on. And so when I reach my boiling point, this is the stuff I go over with clients. You don't want to reach your boiling point. Okay. Your niceness is going to come to that. Okay, so I will reach my boiling point and then I'm yelling at everybody, and no one is this, no one is that, nobody cares, and all this kind of stuff. And then it was disconnecting me from people. Okay, and what else was I doing? I was always having thoughts of leaving. People were like, 𝐿 is such a faithful wife, and she's so good, and she's all of this, and he's probably looking at everybody like, what, you don't know 𝐿. And I'm not taking all the blame. A lot was on him too. Okay, this was a learning moment in my life when I was married with my ex. And so I knew what the truth was. I knew when he came home, I despised the whole interaction. I didn't want to be around it. Wasn't, when I say being nice, it looks nice on the outside, but in the inside, you know what's going on. You know the pain, the hurt, the tearful moments, the crying, and all of this kind of stuff, the yelling, the screaming, all of this that no one else sees is going on with you. Okay. When I'm referring to being nice, I'm talking about being the most inauthentic version of yourself, holding in your anger, and expecting someone to love you because you're doing the nice things, you're doing what's being told, but meanwhile they can feel your energy. They know, like, energy does not lie. Okay, I know many of you may relate where you're trying to be nice, but you're talking to everybody, anybody and everybody about your person. They don't do this, they're like this, they're this. No, that's not nice. So where you may feel I'm going with this is being nice is not really being nice. It's not really being nice. But trauma does this to us. Trauma causes us to hide from ourselves. When we feel unheard, unseen, unlovable, no one's here for us, nobody, this is not anything of you. You know, sometimes you read information and you're like, well, I'm supposed to try to be this way. I gotta be. This is all subconscious. This is all subconscious, okay? This is where that programming came in that you had to be nice to earn someone's love, validation. If you speak up about what you're truly feeling, is going to rock the boat. Okay, you learned this early on and it started showing up in your connection. Now, here's where it ties in with twin flame. Okay, your twin flame is you. So when you are hiding from yourself, believe me, I get it. There was a point I didn't know what my feelings were anymore. I had no clue. I didn't know who this person inside of me was anymore because I was so used to hiding. I was so used to pretending that everything was okay when everything was not. And I mean to everybody, to everyone. And the only time they found out when things weren't okay was when I became explosive. And so I didn't know what that was. And I wound up hiring a coach for myself because I was like, all right, this connection I had with my ex was not good. Complete disconnection. We look, somebody might assume we're married. I was a single, what do you call it? A single married woman where you wouldn't see him. You didn't know he existed. Total disconnect. We had years in the house where there was no communication and all this kind of stuff. Both of us really resenting each other. You name it. I could go on with the list. So I said to myself, I don't want to repeat that. Okay. I don't want to go through that again and wind up hiring someone so I can see it. But it took bravery. Okay. Because I was the kind of person who didn't want to be seen and didn't realize I didn't want to be seen. And so it took to be able to open up and say, I want help with this was major. And it really started with a client of mine who saw me. She was like, oh, 𝐿, you're like with her psychic, her intuition. And something inside of me panicked and freaked out and was like, you can see me? You can. That was the moment I was like, what was that? What on earth was in me that just said that? Okay. And so I hired someone to be able to see. And then he asked me one of the most important questions I will never forget is he asked me, when was the last time you cried? When was the last time you cried? And I would be lying to you if I said I never did, because that's what's happening with a lot of you out here. You cry in secrecy. You cry in private. You run to the bathroom. Let me know if this resonates. If this was you, maybe you've healed from that, which is excellent, okay? You cry when no one's looking. You cry in your car. You cry in your bathroom. If you're at work, you're crying in the bathroom over there. Maybe on your lunch break, in your car. Maybe you're hoping to leave where you are so you can go cry. That was me. One day I had to leave work early because I could not hold these tears back. But when he asked me, when was the last time you let yourself cry? It felt like I never did, because I was strong, I was independent, I was taking care of everything. No one was there for me. I didn't let someone in for me. See? I didn't let someone in. And this is one of the things that happened in that marriage I was in. That's why I don't fully blame him. And I'm sure I don't fully blame myself either. There is this thing, there is this belief, I can do it all. I can do it all. Nobody's here. I can't let anyone in because God forbid they disappoint me, something like that, right? And so no one got to see that part of me, or they hardly did. That part of me that cried in pain. And when he said that, I was like, at first I was like, no, I don't cry. That was a lie. That was a lie. All right, so I'll read a comment. I was in the same type of marriage, codependent relationship linked to people pleasing and being nice. Absolutely. All right. And so when he helped me to see me, this is why I do a lot of inner child healing, mostly inner child. We do energetic, we do past life, all this kind of stuff. But for a majority of the time, it's inner child, because this is where I discovered that person that was in me that had been saying, I'm in pain and you're not listening. Okay. When you're nice and you're putting everything to the side to take care of everyone else because your needs don't matter, because your feelings don't matter, this person inside of you is like, I forget where I was going with this, but okay. I don't feel heard. I don't feel seen. I don't feel all the same feelings you were going through when you were younger. That's probably not the direction I was going to take it, but I'll take it there anyways. And I began to connect with this person inside. That's why I was saying why I mainly do inner child healing. Okay, most of my work is that. I started to connect with that voice inside, because that voice is telling you something. Okay. And once I started to do that was the moment my twin unblocked me. I was like, look at that. Look at that. So you may hear about the energy, all of this aligning with energy. That's what's going to get them. That's not what I had experienced. Okay. And that's not the majority of my practice. Don't get me wrong. Aligning with energy, aligning with your soul, balancing your energy, all of this is really important. It's really important. But we're talking about someone who's mirroring you, who's reflecting you, who's showing you the beliefs in your subconscious. You share the same subconsciousness. You do. That's why in this connection, I'm telling you, when you can look at it like, if I'm experiencing fear in this connection, if I'm worried that they're going to show up, guess who's worried too? Okay. You're experiencing a connection with yourself. And your twin was not the first one. You were experiencing a connection with yourself. No, everybody else was. Everybody you encountered, the ex you were married with, and all this kind of stuff was showing you that. But when you experience this really good connection with a person, and then it feels like it's yanked out of you, that connection is yanked out of your life, it shakes you, it wakes you up, it makes you realize, oh, something's happening here. Okay. And so that's what happened to me, was I became unblocked. And because of that, I went on a journey of, I'm no longer hiding from myself. I'm not hiding from myself. But I want to say there's a price when you're like, I'm not hiding from yourself. Well, this is what the person I worked with had always said. Oh, I love how he stated this, right? I'll give credit where credit deserves. This was Lee and Sherry. Lee. And so the question I got asked was, oh, so you believe you can make this decision without letting her know, your inner person, without letting your inner person know that? All of a sudden, you're just going to be a particular way and think it's okay without including that person inside of you who has always known If I speak up, something's going to happen. If I let them know what my feelings are, they're going to run away. They're going to judge me. They're going to do all of this kind of stuff, right? Connect with that person. Okay? This is what I'm sharing with you. Let's get back to the title of this. Why hiding from yourself, being nice, it's hiding from yourself, doesn't work in this connection. Because when you're hiding from yourself, you're hiding your fears, you're hiding what you're truly feeling. Because sometimes we fight for a connection, right? Or we have in the past. This is your permission to never fight. Don't fight again. It's a choice. You choose to be there. They choose to be there. Stop fighting. But when we fight for a connection, we ignore the parts of us that says, I don't feel good. I don't feel safe. I don't feel desired. I don't feel wanted. All of this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, we're like, give it to me, give it to me. This is ego, by the way. And I like to call myself the ego queen. Okay. You'll know a lot about ego. And I'll have a training on ego as well. When you understand ego, you understand connection. Okay. When you understand the ego, you have far greater understanding of yourself and the person you're connected with. Okay. Because the ego tries to run the show with you, with the person, your twin. It tries to run the show. It wants it here. It wants it right now. It wants it since yesterday. It needs to look like this. If it doesn't look like this, it means everything's falling apart. Nothing is working out. All of this, right? Ego. And it shows up in you, and it shows up in your twin flame and other people in your life. And when you don't recognize it, it's going to be war. It's going to be disconnect. It's going to be all kinds of things, because you're going to fall for the ego, yours and theirs. You're going to fall for it. And again, it creates a disconnect. You can't truly experience connection with another person. And I'm saying this, okay? Maybe it resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. When ego is at large, when you're not in connection with your soul and letting your soul lead, but instead you're going through your mind, and they're reflecting that where they're going through their mind, trying to experience that connection. It's the reason why you may say, I really want this connection right now. And they say, well, you're not, I don't want you. The mind. The soul says, don't worry, relax. I got this. To you and your twin. Okay, not one or the other. To you and your twin, your soul is saying, don't worry, I got this. And so what we do is say, let me try harder. Let me do all this stuff from the mind, hoping, praying that this person will do the same, where they drop into soul to experience the connection. We're trying to do it through the mind, okay? Because we were taught to be nice, to please, to ignore everything going on inside and have this connection unfold. And I will tell you right now, it will not work, because you are experiencing a connection with yourself. One of the things that really, really helps, which I will share with you right now, to move more in soul, is to understand, this is first step, okay? Help me. You're not in control. You're not in control. All this thinking, trying, maybe if I do this, maybe you're not in control, all right? I didn't put a link to my latest ebook, but I will soon, to help you come out of that obsessive, I need this to happen, this has to look like this, and all of this kind of stuff. But certainly if you're ready for 101, because we'll go deeper in your relationship with yourself, and everybody around you and your twin begins to change and move more into soul feel relaxed, peaceful, and you actually get along with each other while you are being in your truth. Okay. One of the things that I've came to understand working with clients, I'm letting you know that a big reason why connection does not work is when we are inauthentic with ourselves and with the person we feel connected. We're not showing up with who we truly are. We're holding parts of ourselves because we don't want to disappoint someone. So this can only last for so long until the real you come out. Okay? The real you is going to come out and it's going to say, I can't live like this anymore. Perhaps it came out in you. Perhaps it came out in your person. If you've experienced a really wonderful connection with someone, then finally, and then it seems like that person just leaves and they're like, I don't want this. It is likely they were inauthentic. Your twin was inauthentic, a reflection of your inauthenticity in that connection. And now, because the authentic version of yourself comes out, your connection was not built on authenticity. It was built on people pleasing, being nice. Let me shut down. Let me show them a certain version so they can like me, but they're not liking me. So let me try all of this. That's what it was built on. It wasn't built on who you truly are and where they truly are in the journey. Very important. Where they are in the journey is important too. Okay. Certainly is a mirror, but we got to honor their space too. Okay. I say that from the bottom of my heart because I see so many people getting hurt trying to get someone who's emotionally unavailable. If your twin is in a connection with someone else, I'm going to tell you right now, the connection is not ready. And I don't want you to get disappointed and say, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to wait so many years. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to connect with who you are, the most authentic version of yourself, not for someone, not for this love to happen, but to really be that person that you really are, to live your life aligned in a way that feels in resonance with you on a soul level. All right. So I see a comment here. The penny finally dropped for me recently, and your mantra, I'm not in control, helped. I'm really watching twin flame stuff these days. And if I do, is to connect with people on the journey. All right, good. Good. You know, I put out twin flame contents, I do. And I will keep doing this work and keep speaking the truth the way that I know it to be. But there are some twin flame materials out there that are going to leave you stuck. Okay, even some videos, especially the fluffy loved ones. Oh, your twin flame is your destined one, is the one that's going to fulfill you or complete you or something. If you watch any of those, stay away from that. Stay away from that because it teaches you to look for love outside of you. I'm looking for someone to complete me. I'm looking for that other half of me, that other, whatever those messages are. All right. It's a lot of outside, and it'll continue any codependent behavior that you have. You got to be real careful with being outside of yourself and come a lot within, a lot within. Okay. It is not, I'm not going to say it's easy to be authentic, but it's necessary for this connection to continue. All right. And I say it's necessary. I would love to answer any questions, even for anyone coming on afterwards, because you're no longer hiding from yourself. You're no longer hiding. And that's what this connection does. If there's any moment of, I'm going to withhold, I'm not going to speak my truth, I'm going to, they can't relate. they can't connect. And that's with anybody. The one of the questions I ask is, do you believe people want to be able to connect with you? Do you believe? Some of you might be like, no, they don't want to. Okay, well, we're talking about those you feel connected with and you share a special bond and you know there's a special bond. Do you believe they want to know who you are? and to show up for you as who you are. Many of us say, I don't know if someone will do that. So we shut down while the other person's saying, this is after all the healing. This happens too. You've done all this healing. They show up. They want to be there. And you're like, I don't know. Can I believe it? Yes, you can. If you've done the healing, yes, you can. They're here to show up for you because you've been showing up for yourself. Now, that next step is to allow them in, to be there for you. Believe me, receiving is a tough thing. When you are nice and you're people pleasing and someone shows up for you and they say, I'm here, I'm ready for you, receiving is that next step. You're letting go of being nice and you're including people in your space. You're allowing people to be there for you and to connect with you. And you're speaking up about your truth. You're saying, I need help. Okay, I can't do this alone. I really need someone to be there because that's your truth. All right. This is a message for all the independent. I'm independent. I will live my whole life like this. I'm totally fine with that. Are you though? We're talking about being authentic, letting go of being nice and being authentic. Sit in your truth. What is your truth? Okay. And don't hide from yourself anymore. Give yourself permission with that. All right. So I can go on and on. I don't see comments, any more comments, but thank you so much for participating, DM. Okay. And that's my topic today. All right. But be sure to leave your questions, any videos that you want to see more of, and I'll definitely catch you next time. All right. Thanks for being here. Bye.